inside to find you, waiting for the life I once tried to find, 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 once tried to find. Breathing underwater isn't hard, I try deep inside to find you, waiting for the life I once tried to find, 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 once tried to find.
Let's see here. Oh, this is not set up. I thought it was. Hold up. Why am I hearing an echo? I'm not even calibrated. We are professionals here. Look at us. Look at us. We are such professionals. Anyway. And wop. Behavior. How about we look at that. Kind of, sort of, not really what I wanted though. It's a little like weird. Someone's screaming outside my door, probably some crackhead. Okay. I got something to rant about. Let me make sure I got this all good. I'd have to turn off the look at me. And then what? Nope. Then the what? There we are. Nope, no ranting. Fuck you, Grim. Hate you. Hope your pillow's warm. Let me make sure this audio's good.
Hello, I'm Matt Galloway, and this...
Okay. I don't think it was that video first. I think it was this one first.
That we provide.
Yeah. There's a couple things I want to talk about. We'll unplug the router. I'll unplug you, you fucking... Yeah. It's hard to control this with the... Is it laggy? No. Okay. Theater mode? Boom. Look at that. Ain't that professional? Anyway, I'm not sure if Norse is still in here. I hope so. They said hi. They are. Firstly, how is everyone doing? Can I, put this on as background?
He left as the world fell into chaos and watched.
No, I won't do that. So, for context, main thing is I like to listen to stuff while I'm at work, or else it's just dead all fucking day. What had happened is that I noticed some things talking about education, right? And one of the things that I like to keep up with is anything that involves current kind of research on education. Because I was a teacher once. I only taught for 3 years and only did math and social studies. It was shit. It was complete shit. But for extra context, associates in early childhood education, bachelor's in middle level education, and a master's in education. So I would say I kind of have an idea of what comes into reading and how people learn to read. It mostly happens in those early childhood education things. Okay, all those grades. That's why you're learning your A's and B's and C's. Learning the sounds of each. I'm getting a drink. Each of the sounds of each letter. Learning how to, put those sounds together to make words. So that way you get stuff like cat. Like, here's an actual trick you might have seen. You might actually see it in schools today. They might still do this. They'll get their arm out, and then they'll do like syllables. So like C-A-T, k-at, cat. And they'll actually do that. And they have like a whole spiral notebook filled with all these different things. Sad, sad. So that way they recognize, like, oh shit, these letters, they actually say that. They're like, oh, god damn, little Timmy, did you know that this has a sound? Sad. And there's kids who don't fucking know this. There's kids who straight up are like, let me turn myself down because I think I'm peaking. There we are. I shouldn't be peaking as much. Nope, I'm still in the red. I want to be in the red, but not like, going past it. Do I have a gain on here? I might have a gain. I do. Edit filters. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Yeah, I had a gain on there from Expedition 33. I had like 7+ gain. Anyway. I was listening to this while I was at work, and I was like, what in the absolute fuck am I hearing? Because this was never introduced while I was in college. And this was never introduced while I was like actually teaching, like both being a substitute teacher and a para. Because if you're a substitute teacher, you're taking over that teacher's day. There is no like DVD. Like I think I only had students go over a DVD like once the entire time that I was substitute teaching. And even as a para, whenever I had to cover other teachers' classes for the day. Hydrate yourself. All right. So that was like only one time. I remember my worst day as a substitute actually being, it was very easy. It's the easiest lesson plan ever. It was back like, I'm not going to give any specific, even though, I'm not going to give specifics because that's easy to find me then. But essentially, I just had to let the students work on a project. And it was just, that's it. But there was a computer lab like 2 doors down. And what they would do is, can I use the restroom? Substitutes today cannot say no to that. There's like, well, you don't know. You don't have access to any medical stuff. So gotta let them go. And I'm like, hurry up. Come back soon. I haven't seen these fuckers in like 10 minutes or so. 10, 15 minutes. I'm like, where the fuck are these people? I'm finding out that they're in the computer lab, like over. And this is like after like 4 or 5 students are gone at this point. So like I asked for help the first time. Then the security brings them back in. But then they just do it again. They just straight up like, can I use the restroom? I didn't get to use it earlier. And I have to say yes. And I even reminded the school, like, I can't say no to this. So to make it even worse, these students were basically like just screaming, hollering, I can't do anything. Some were straight up just threatening me, and anything you can think of, they were probably doing it. And even after like calling security again, calling the front office, be like, I need help. They're not listening to me. They're not doing their work. I can't do anything. I'm just a sub. All I could do is write down names, and I guarantee you half of these names aren't real. Because it was even a hard time just doing attendance too. Like I was just like, please raise your hand because whatever. I don't know you all. And half of them I can't even like pronounce their name. It has like at least 20 syllables, and it doesn't even make a coherent word. And it's just like, I'm gonna spell it out. If you're not paying attention or you don't know how to spell your name, please, it's like something. Help me. But no. Worst day ever. And I straight up told the school I'm never substituting there again. I filled out a whole report, and like I don't think it got like some contracts like taken out of, but it definitely had some conversations, especially like that teacher actually had a hard time finding another sub afterwards because of it. Not my fault, student's fault. And that's another thing. It is so hard for educators in any sense, whether they're old or new, any one of them, to say it's the student's fault. It's really hard for them to say that. I straight up said like a couple times, not in anyone's face, but like just in my own personal rants, that there is such thing as a lost cause when it comes to students. So Like, straight up, if they're more willing, real story, if they're more willing to go back to juvie, that's the key word, back to juvie. Because, here's straight up the reason that they told me. Them blueberry muffins slap. Like, quote, them blueberry muffins slap, though. Whole reason why. They said it was easier. They said that they had more fun. And I'm just like, where the fuck were you? Having to talk to parole officers and everything. And dude, straight up, like, even after committing straight up a felony, still, like, and this is while I was teaching, not as a substitute. Like, I was a full-on certified teacher. Like, I had to deal with fucking felons. Not gonna say what he did, but it was bad enough to where anyone would say, like, yeah, go to fucking jail. That's all I'll say. And I think he did afterwards. He was basically waiting for a trial. But we all knew. We all knew what he fucking did. Thank God I didn't have to go to court, though. But there is such things as, like, eventually the student just doesn't care. And this is, like, at an age where it's like, okay, they're beyond helping. Like, it's not like early childhood where they're like kindergarten or first grade, they're just being a little shit. No. This is like an older student where it's like they definitely are at the age to know better. And they are still thinking, if I do this, I'm very likely to get in trouble. Fuck it. And they just do it anyway. It's so bad. It's so bad. I don't recommend anyone ever become a teacher until, like, shit changes. Like, ever. I'm talking, like, minimum 65. Like, first year after you just got certified. First year. All states. Maybe California has to be higher, but that's only because you had to make 6 figures just to make minimum wage. But that's their fault. Their policies. Not getting political. But I feel like the teacher should make at the minimum $65K starting out, like first year, and then every year needs to have another raise because that's extra experience. And also, they do this anyway. Like, most schools already do this. They'll have like a tier, like they call it a schedule, a pay schedule. They'll be like, first year this, second year this, boom, 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 boom. Oh, you just have your bachelor's? What about a bachelor plus this many credit hours? What about a bachelor plus this many credit hours? What about a master's degree plus this many hours with master's? What about a doctoral degree where you're called doctor something? And they have different salaries for all those. Like, if you're going to make a minimum $65K first year, you have to have a doctorate degree. You're going to be called doctor something. And that's already ridiculous because if you have a doctorate, you really shouldn't be like an elementary, middle, or high school teacher. That's college. And even then, adjunct professors get paid even less. We're talking like, oh, we're advertising $1,000 per hour. That's per credit hour. Classes are 3 at the minimum. 3 credit hours. So you're only getting paid $1,000 for essentially those 9 weeks, those 3 months. Not a lot. That's only $3,000. You try living up at $3,000 in the span of like 3 months. Ain't happening. Actually, it's about 2, maybe 2.5, depending on when you start. Still, not enough money. Straight up, there's a news story about this. I forget where it was, but there is a news story where an adjunct professor straight up died in the college, and she didn't have a place to live. She was certified homeless because she couldn't afford anything. Again, $1,000 per credit hour is usually the standard for an adjunct professor. And they take multiple, too. They take multiple classes. But that's the thing. In order to take those classes, you have to essentially have a master's in that same thing. Oh, like I could basically teach a college class in educational technology. That's it. I can't do one where it's like college algebra, calculus, statistics. Even though I took those classes, I can't do it. Can't teach it because I don't have a master's in mathematics or statistics. Literally, my master's is only like in ed tech. So it's like, unless they have multiple classes that is ed tech, which doesn't fucking happen, or I work at multiple colleges, which is what this one was probably doing. Yeah, they found her dead. She was straight up sleeping on a couch inside like one of the lobbies there. So adjunct professors, they get paid fuck and all. Nothing. That's been my new phrase lately, fuck and all. So that's my first kind of tangent, is like teachers do not get paid enough. If you go to Google, firstly, it's going to say the average salary. That's not starting, boo-boo. That is average. Because there are some teachers that do get paid very well. There are some, I don't know fucking where, but I've seen a video where one said she was straight up making $100,000 being like a high school teacher. And I'm like, where the fuck are you? But also, come to find out, they have a doctoral degree. They're or a PhD, something. They're a doctor in some kind of education. It's like, what the hell? Yeah, 6 figures. That's really damn good. Only way to make money in college, like being any kind of professor, is being a full-on college professor. We're talking like you are in charge of doing research for that college, studies, some kind of experiments, all this kind of stuff to actually publish research. And that published stuff is what's making you money, because it's going to the college and then they'll pay you. Usually these are the professors that you see that want nothing to do with you. They want nothing to do with having to teach the class. Half of it's probably automated. Like if you do Blackboard, you can automate a lot of stuff in Blackboard. It can grade everything. It can assess you. It can... there's even some things that have like... what is it? I'm trying to think. It'll have like a library full of like questions already, but that's usually when if the college or the LMS designer are actually doing it. But at the same time, LMS designers are usually there to just make the class for you, and that's fucking it, if even. So that's if they actually do it. Half the time they actually just give it to the professor to do, and then they just probably get someone else to do it, like their kid in high school would be like, please make this course. Or some other student inside the college be like, hey, you're good at tech, make this course. I'll give you like $2. Like, oh, I can buy ramen noodle with that. So back to the subject at hand, though. This is a video by Atlanta News First. It says, literacy crisis, how decades of teaching practices left children behind. Another personal story. When I was a para, I told this specialist at the school, I'm not a reading teacher. I'm not an English teacher. I'm definitely a math teacher, though. Straight up, I taught math. Like after that job, just full on. Like I can't. Do not make me do reading. Do not make me do any kind of reading and writing and all that stuff. But she personally hated me. I don't know why. This is the one person that I'm like, I straight up did nothing wrong because I was being more than nice. Because firstly, there's like K through 5 like kids around. I'm not gonna be like a dick to other adults if they're just running around trying to learn or something. I don't know what I did. I want to say the only thing that kind of got her upset was I asked about the chairs in her room. And I asked, like, are there any other chairs like this? Because these chairs are really nice. And I just have, like, this rinky-dink chair for, like, a kindergartner in my computer lab. And they're like, no, these chairs stay here. You are not to touch them. You are not to move them. And this is just after asking that basic questions. Like, hey, can I bring this? Okay, the avatar things where you're like throwing stuff or making, you can do sound effects. The sound alert should be going, but anything like yeet or throw something at me, all this other kinds of things, that's for when I'm just on desktop, not in VR, and I'm just playing games or something, not in VRC. And even then, that doesn't work. I don't know why. My VTuber Plus or whatever it's called is not working. It says it can't connect to something, and I've never seen an update to where I need to change something else. I need to go back and update those commands. Firstly, I need to disable them. Anyway, so the teacher, she put me on reading and writing help anyway, because I asked for a chair, I assume. And this other teacher, she was the one that did, or this other para, she was the one that did the math stuff. And it was the same situation for her. She hated doing that. She did not want to do the fucking math. And so all of us are like, why are you doing this? And then even worse, I'm the youngest in the group here, okay? I'm like, I forget how old I was. I was like probably 21, 22, something like that. And gives the oldest person who straight up said, I do not do well with technology. They gave her the whole thing to put in all the data from all the assessments that we were doing to track like how they're progressing with math or reading. And so this whole thing, like we're telling them like, hey, we would do so much better in these fields. And she's like, no, go over here. We don't know what we did. Overall, we just think that she was being an asshole. That's the closest thing we can think of as to what was going on. Anyway, one of the situations is that there was this, I think he was kindergarten or first grade. I can't remember. I just remember they were not doing very well. Do I have a pen? I might have pens over here. Hold up. Pens. Any pens. I think it's behind me. The pen would very much help. I have a pen. I found one. Hey guys, I found a pen. Anyway. We would have these little things here that, oh, hi, Hellwolf. It's in a Ziploc bag, and it would have a letter in it. And it had some kind of, only way I can explain it is like jelly. And they're supposed to trace the letter while making the sound. This way, they not only associate the letter with a sound, but they can also, like, it just helps them write it out. Muscle memory as well. It's getting all the factors. It's really helpful. So they're like, apple, A, or some bullshit. Or just to make it even more fun, they would even do like a little Hot Wheels car, and they would like go around the whole thing and do the same thing. And this dude was like getting it the whole time, all the letters during intervention. Fucking bots, dude. And what would happen is then I would give him this little. You can't really do that. I could do it if I do it this way. Let me just hide this because we're not talking about that right now. So it'd be like sock, sock. It would be 3-letter words that you would associate, or yeah, this isn't a word, but this is essentially like what it would be. It'd be a little booklet, and they would have a bunch of these, and they would have to go through the whole line, and I basically count how many they got right and cross out the ones that they got wrong. So that way their score is basically how much did they get right. Dude could not, for the life of him, make an S sound. I was like, what sound did that make? What sound does this letter make? I don't know. What do you think it is? C? Well, that's a letter, but what's the sound that this letter makes? This is an S. K. Okay, what about this one? Just move on. And this is where it starts. This was like a kindergarten or first grade student. First of all, they shouldn't have this issue at first grade. But this is what I fucking dealt with. And then later on, fast forward a couple years, I'm teaching an 8th grade math class, and I got students who can't spell or even recognize the same thing. Ain't that just sad? Ain't that just like crazy? Where's the my mouth? That's just insane, isn't it? And so what do you do? Because reading in any kind of like literacy, so like recognizing letters, recognizing the sound of letters, all these things to basically learn how to read is all early childhood. It's all early childhood. You cannot, what am I trying to say? You can't make someone like that proficient in like reading with that level. That's just how the brain is. Your brain is brand fucking new. It's a sponge. It's dry, and you just throw a whole bunch of knowledge in there. You can't fix that. Once you're older, straight up 25 is when your brain is fully done developing. Look it up. It's straight up 25. So like learning a new language that uses different symbols completely. So like I'm not talking like Spanish or French, I'm talking like they use a whole different thing like kanji or something. That is very hard for someone who has never attempted to learn like another language. You could do it, but it's not as easy as learning it if you were like in the first grade or kindergarten. So if any parents are out there, let me see. If there's any parents out there that has any small children, straight up, it is your fault. Your fault if you do not sit with your kid and do like flashcards of like letters and sounds, or even as little as reading a book to them. I'm not talking like you just have it over here, they don't see it. I'm talking like you have to open that shit and you have to point to the words and read it to them, because this video that I have over here is fucking atrocious when it was trying to teach kids how to read that were in this situation. They had no idea how to read. They had no idea how to associate a letter with a sound. It was ballistic, and it made me go off. Because even I, before they even said like the research is bullshit, even I was saying that that's bullshit. And another thing, this is now going on to educational research. Getting a master's degree is all about learning how to read studies, how to analyze and critique them, and actually figure out what studies are good and what studies should be thrown the fuck out. That's why you have studies that are like vaccines cause autism. No, they don't. And then you have a whole fuckload of research and articles that's like, here's how they do not cause autism. Here's what they actually do. And then you see like much higher like sample rates. I straight up had not a news article, a study that was trying to do language and all this other things, but it only had a sample size of 10 children. And they were comparing that to the whole country. How many kids are in this fucking country? A lot. Not 10. It's at least 10, but it's a lot more. So you're not going to say this will work for the whole country. That's bullshit. Anyway, let's get to this fucking video and see what the hell is going on. Because I only got 10 minutes into it, and I was already ranting. Some Roman noodles. I ate some.
Think about everything you can't do.
What are you?
What, Kerr?
Her teacher approached me and said, there's this wonderful program, but I just didn't see any progress. She still couldn't read.
The only explanation that I think is plausible is that reading recovery actually does harm students.
Just stares at the China cabinets full of collectibles no one is allowed to touch.
I don't trust that it has a negative impact on students.
If you could just walk a mile where we've been.
Well, I'm glad you followed and you came back to
They
watch.
tell me I don't try hard enough.
We're talking about life.
Okay, when it comes down to a smaller, this is the first thing I ranted about. I'm going to pause every time I ranted about something. Or I'm going to, because I only got to 10 minutes, so I was like, I'm going to save this. You should join. Okay. He's still going to have to watch the stream in order to actually watch the video that I'm watching. But students don't try hard enough. So, again, the head pats don't work. Anything that involves working with the avatar, it does not work. There is a way to put it into VRC, but I can't. I'm not good at Unity. It requires Unity. What is it? I would definitely say that when it comes to students not trying, I don't care. I want a head pat. Well, we got the emotes. Get head patted. When it comes to not trying, there was definitely one when I would argue didn't care. So like there was two, and we had totally separate like ideas of like, okay, this one's not trying and this one is trying, but they actually have like some issues, so we should probably help him out more. This one's just not trying at all though. So there was one that just did not do any kind of work, any kind of like effort inside the class, and their grades definitely reflected it. No amount of messaging parents or getting admin involved, anything would actually help, and we documented every little bit of it, and he just did not try like at all. There was no like trying to bring their grade up or anything. And he didn't cause problems. It was basically just sitting there, just and this other one just kept on giving him more stuff to basically be distracted in class. Yes, he should have an what the fuck are these called? The Apple like AirPods. Yes, he should have one AirPod in his ear during lessons. No. Where the fuck did you get that idea? What? No. Because then he's just going to turn that shit up. And he's not going to listen. Oh, but he has the other one open. Doesn't matter. You know how easy it is for me to not hear someone when I'm just reading something on my phone. Not listening, just reading something on my phone. I cannot hear the person next to me. Like whatever they just said was just noise in the air whenever I was trying to focus on reading something. Could not do it. I literally had to put my phone down and look at them, give them my full attention to actually hear. Is that ADD? Yes. But at least I knew I'm going to put my phone down and I'm going to listen as best I can. As best I can is the main part, because I still have like Secret or Grim repeating themselves at least 3 or 4 times. And it does piss them off. It absolutely pisses them off. But if they're a younger age, like elementary, I would say like they're just getting frustrated. They're not trying. They're doing their best, I would say. Back to this. We only went 40 seconds in.
Literally right now.
Colleagues, 70% of our 4th graders are struggling to read on grade level.
Yep.
That is an emergency 5-alarm fire across all areas.
We are crippling our young learners by not teaching them how to read.
Hi, I'm investigative reporter Andy Perotti.
Look at his outfit. No, I'm not going to rant about that.
Lawmakers banned controversial teaching methods this year used to help children learn to read for decades.
Let me actually look at this class, though. I like that there's 2 whiteboards, but like I'm so confused as to how I would actually use it. Like I would probably use the other one on the right here, if you can see my mouse. So like this focus thing, or yeah, they're kind of, I don't know what the fuck they're using. Why would you have this whole paper thing when you have whiteboards? Anyway.
Following multiple Atlanta News First investigations, the legislation also overhauls how future teachers are trained in reading instruction. It's intended to address a statewide crisis. By 4th grade, only 1 in 3 Georgia students can read perfectly.
Okay, let's talk about Georgia. Georgia, you can actually tell how each state is like in education off of, and you can look this up, Praxis. I'm going to write it down. Writing it down here. Praxis. If you can see that. Praxis. You can look that up, and you want to look scores based on whatever test. Most of them are going to be your Praxis 1 tests, but there's 2. There's Praxis 1 and Praxis 2. Praxis 1 is your core, like reading, writing, and math. They have a certain score for each state as to what constitutes as passing. Alabama is the fucking lowest. Ain't that surprising? Georgia is also pretty low. So what does that also tell you? The education probably isn't that great. Look for Praxis 2 as well, because Praxis 2 is specific to your subject. So math, English, writing, reading, whatever, social studies, calculus, all that shit. Look it up.
Efficiently, according to a state assessment. Tonight, we reveal potential causes to the problem and why parents and experts are now calling for a reading reset and how children are taught.
There was no way. That's why you want.
That's why.
That's why.
Reading
No.
does not come easy for Sophia Quinn.
Think.
That book that she's reading, I'm 99% sure, this isn't a rant. I'm 99% sure that some kind of reading intervention teacher, something like that, actually chose that and told the mom to read it. This is what you should be doing if you are a parent. I'm telling you that right fucking now. If you're not doing what they are doing right now, then there's probably a reason why they are struggling. Now, there's other things like this. I don't know the mom's situation here, but I'm pretty sure like she may have been doing this because of some issue in the past where they're like, okay, they're having a hard time reading. Maybe we should try this other thing, and it just wasn't working. If that's the case, then that's the one time where it's like, okay, this is the school's fault. But I will die on this hill. A lot of the time, it is the parents' fault for not doing this. This is what parents should be doing. I'm talking like preschool age. Your kid could 100% be at a second grade reading level in preschool.
About that.
The 14-year-old struggles with dyslexia.
Or higher.
You in on the kid.
I'll say this right now. My sister, in fact, was
teacher in Gwinnett County, Georgia.
My sister was writing in cursive when they were teaching how to write in print. Ooh, they had a problem. Let them fucking write in cursive.
Took notice and offered to help.
Her teacher approached me and said, "There's this wonderful program."
Even I wrote in
We
cursive,
select
not
one kid
anymore,
from each
but
class,
even I did.
Bottom of the reading level. It's one-on-one. They're going to try and help her.
Sounded like a godsend.
Yeah, I felt like, ooh, they're rolling out the red carpet for me. This is going to be great. I was so thankful.
After 20 weeks in the program, Sophia's reading did not improve.
I did see the invite request, but there's no way you could see the video.
Worse. And what frustrated her mother the most, the school called her daughter a success story and suggested passing her on to the next grade.
Oh my God.
I felt like they
made you
I should be
relearn it.
celebratory, like, oh my gosh,
God.
thank you.
That's
but
bull.
I just didn't see any progress.
That's
She still
terrible.
couldn't read. So now all the alarms are going off.
Not your fault, Silver.
And I'm expressing my frustration with how are we passing her, but she can't read.
A-V.
This is Matthew Purcell. He was in the same reading program as Sophia.
Whenever I do my best.
A few months into it, his mother, Missy, noticed something strange.
Hold up. I told the teacher to learn how to read cursive, and there won't be an issue. And I suddenly couldn't have access that day. Okay, this is something, okay, it wasn't taught. It wasn't taught to me, like in college or something. It was just basic common knowledge. But any time that there's a student that is doing something more advanced than what you're doing, honestly, that's the one time you should really adapt to it. It's like it might be outside your area. Like, for instance, my 8th graders, I definitely had some 8th graders that were like in 10th grade math or higher. I definitely had one that was definitely higher than that. Like, I'm talking, she could probably start with some pre-cal right now. That's probably where she was at. She was just that smart. And I gave her the best resources I could, but I was just like, this is out of my field. I cannot help you when it came down to some things. But I let her do it during intervention sessions. So why can't you have like a 1st or 2nd grader write in cursive if they can already write in cursive? What the fuck? They could do it. The teacher can obviously read it. The hell? They're gonna expect you to write in cursive in the future. They did for me. I learned how to write in cursive in 3rd grade because that's the standard, at least at the time. But let them fucking do it. Even like when I was in 4th or 5th grade, I was like, do we have to write in cursive? In my mind, like, please, 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 please. Because it was just natural for me. Yes, you have to write in cursive. Aww. Damn.
She says while Matthew was reading at home, She saw him guessing words using pictures on the page, not sounding the words out.
Third grade level.
That's where shit really hits the fan. Like, you saw the girl reading that book. I didn't see pictures in that book, at least on that page. I like learning about science in my spare time, but I liked cursive, honestly, just as a preference. Yeah, it's easier.
Missy is a
Was it
former
good
school
cursive on
teacher
my end? No,
herself.
I still had shit
Most of the time
handwriting.
when he
But
was reading, he was looking at the words and then the pictures. Words, pictures, words, pictures. So he was reading pictures. He was being cued by the pictures.
What Missy is talking about is a reading method called 3-cueing. It's a theory where kids are encouraged to only sample the letters
Oh, you
and the
dislike
words in
cursive?
the text, relying mostly on prediction and context for comprehension.
it's like, I could tell, like, the dog is running, but you could definitely guess, like, roll or run, or, I'm sorry. I was looking at the picture and I thought it was run. So I could see the research going with it, but that doesn't help them learn what the letters sound like. It should be run, see, spot. All that. This is a kindergarten and first grade standard. This little method that I'm doing here. And they were not doing that. They're like, look at the picture, what's happening?
For example, a child may be shown a page with this picture.
Without even looking at the words here, what would you say that dog looks like? Just be honest. What would you say this dog looks like? Looking at the chat right now. That's your homework. Who's paying attention? A lot easier and enjoyable for me. I've delved a tiny bit into learning a foreign language and other scripts. Ooh, that's good. So because I want to learn other scripts, cursive. Sad in simple terms. Your honest opinion, without looking at the words, what would you say that dog looked like? Because honestly, I don't see that as sad. I just see it as a dog that is just staring at me, so I do not know. I feel he looks sad. I felt like that he was just staring me down. Dog looks normal. Exactly. That's what I was thinking. I was like, this is just a dog looking at me. But no, Spot is sad, okay? Without the picture, and I read it, now that I see the letters, sad. Now I see, oh, that dog's pretty fucking sad. That dog's depressed. Give it a treat.
Picture and text. If the child can't read the word sad, they're often asked to look at the dog and ask themselves if the word they're thinking makes sense. Does it sound right? Does it look right? Some experts believe cueing doesn't put enough emphasis on phonics, sounding out words.
I remember it was kind of hard and like stressful because they told me to like guess and like look at the pictures to
Firstly, you should never scratch that. This is it. This has like a little asterisk at the end here, but you should never be telling a kid to guess something, especially when it comes to reading. Should not be telling them to fucking guess. Now, I did tell my students that during state testing to get more done, let's say they went through all the questions that they knew, like first, like they just, okay, boop, 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 boop. Oh, I still got like 5 questions, 10 questions left over. Now let me go through, shit, I only have 1 minute left and I still got like 5 more questions left. What do I do? Guess. Guess. It's multiple choice. Guess. Get them points. You might be right. That is the only time when you should guess.
spell the words and stuff.
Problems with reading and frustration lingered after
Part 1 oral reading. Flexible for a student read to talk. I'm trying to see what this is. Something forms, reading forms. Okay. Because I might know these.
The program.
Can't read it.
Here's Matthew about 4 years later.
Just do your best.
I can't. I don't know any of these words.
And that's frustrating
program, Math
as
and
both a
Sophia
parent and a
enrolled
teacher.
in
Yeah,
is
guess
called
C all the way.
Reading Recovery. It's one-on-one instruction for the lowest performing students in first grade.
C's get degrees, so it must work.
Does that make sense?
This is video of a reading recovery teacher in Kentucky posted on YouTube 9 years ago. The teacher repeatedly
Via YouTube
stops
capture.
the child from sounding out words.
Why are you doing that? Quit doing that. Quit. You can't sound out. I don't know why you started doing that.
Okay, I don't know what's going on here. One of two things could be happening, and this is another kind of rant here. Firstly, I guarantee you this teacher knew that you should be sounding out the letters to make the words. It was old school learning how to read, but apparently can't fucking do it in here. Probably, here's why I think this is, and she's probably throwing her frustration out at the student here too, unintentionally. Maybe intentionally. I'm going to go with unintentionally here because it is frustrating when you have to do something you really don't want to do, especially if you know better. So, in this instance, she was probably told by some reading specialist or probably even admin, like way up there, maybe even school board, be like, you have to do it this way. If they start sounding out the words or they start sounding out the letters to make the words, quit that shit. They probably told him that. And that's frustrating as all get out, especially when you know that the research does not help this. And I'll get into more research later.
Stop doing that. Stop.
Once hailed as one of the most effective intervention models used in Georgia and across the country for decades, an Atlanta News First investigation uncovered evidence.
Okay, this is what I meant by like they had to read words. This is a little more advanced. I would say that this is a little bit higher. When it was like kindergarten or first grade, it was like 3-letter, not even real words, just sound it out. But if they can do this, I don't know what that mark means, but usually even I would check mark what all they got right.
Reading harmful to children.
The findings were not in the direction that reading recovery expected.
Henry May is a professor at the University of Delaware. Reading Recovery asked him to conduct the largest study of its program ever, tracking thousands of students in multiple states over 13 years. Last
I actually
year,
like that.
he published his
Like the-
results, showing the short-term impact.
Like I always liked that. I thought that was a little creative. The little clips and stuff in the hair.
To students largely positive. But then,
it wasn't until we...
Okay, you saw that? Results in short term. That's what it said. Results in short term. Very positive. That doesn't mean it will actually help.
Looked at the kids' outcomes years later when they reached 3rd and 4th grade, that we saw that the results had completely flipped, and that the differences between the students who received reading recovery and the comparison group that did not, the reading recovery kids were actually worse off. There was a negative impact of reading recovery.
If you have something that has research that shows that it is harmful, not only just not beneficial, but harmful to children, it should be banned.
while at least 19 states have banned 3Q.
Okay, I want to see. Wait, are these like actual bans here? Okay, let me see. Of course, it's Florida and Texas. Firstly, Florida and Texas have their own method of teaching. I think Louisiana might still use it, but Texas is really fucking good for math. I will say that. That's a surprising thing in some cases, but like honestly, Texas has some really good math stuff. That's where, of course, Texas Instruments. That's where they come from. I was surprised they come from Texas, but that shit's hard. That's where your calculators and shit come from. What do you need to know for calculators? Fucking math. Surprised Arkansas banned it.
Or walked away from reading recovery over the past
Fuck Oklahoma. Anyway.
few years. An Atlanta News First investigation uncovered Georgia State University continues to use it.
English
running
never had a
training
major
center for
spelling
teachers
reform. I believe
to
it.
learn reading recovery methods to bring back to the classroom. Since 2023, school districts in 5 states, including Georgia, have paid the university $243,000 for the instruction.
So there it is. That's why, because you got the states and other places paying out the ass for shit that doesn't work.
I said I wasn't gonna get emotional today, but it actually literally makes me sad. If you could just walk a mile
I
where
gotta
we've
pop
been
my hip.
and what this does to a kid, who's gonna tell their parents that those kids and those systems drew the short straw? Who's gonna tell them that their school has chosen to train teachers in a method that we have evidence that shows not only does it not work, but it hurts kids?
I'm just gonna put this down here.
Is Georgia State University missing the boat on this?
No, Georgia State's not missing the boat.
Dr. Caitlin Dooley is the chair of the
Spanish had a huge
Department
reform?
of Early
Oh.
Childhood and Elementary Education. She does not believe reading recovery harms children.
Why?
Pointing to previous studies that have shown positive results.
It's been around for a long time. It has a strong scientific background. And so we are offering it when it's in demand. And there are still districts that are requesting that we provide that training.
Okay, the reason why is because she, PhD here, Caitlin, over here is saying like, but the research, motherfucker. You can find, Google this right now. What are some bad effects of coffee? What are some bad long-term effects of coffee? Do it. Do it right fucking now. And then afterwards, what are some, I said bad ones firstly. What are some bad effects of coffee? Then, what are some good effects of coffee? What are some good long-term effects of coffee? And you're going to get results on both. Education is 10 times fucking worse with this. You will have the same study, the same exact thing, the same methodology, the same sample of people for the whole study, the research, all these things, everything. And you're going to get polar opposite results. And both are peer-reviewed and public research. It's insane how people will constantly be like, but look at the research. Motherfucker, there is research that supports both claims. Both. So it's like, you could say like, oh, but the research, there's a lot of research on this. Yeah, and there's a lot of research on the other hand that's saying that it doesn't work. What you need to do is actually look at the real world thing, because they're only looking at this in a small little box with their small little sample versus an entire fucking state versus the country, because they only said 19 of those states banned it. What about all the others? The others that have it still going probably have the results that she doesn't want to see, or probably cherry-picked. I'm calling her ass out. Probably cherry-picked if she was the one that did the research and said like, we don't need this. Oh, we're looking for short-term. We're looking for short-term results. If we're doing short-term results, it works. We don't care about the long-term whenever they're in high school and have a second grade reading level.
And we believe that it
Hate
works.
this.
The Reading Recovery Council of North America, which develops the curriculum, and Dr. Dooley both tell Atlanta News First investigates they consider Professor May's study flawed, pointing out that 75% of its original participants dropped out.
And then there was also no evidence of what we call dosage, which is
Dosage.
the amount of intervention that kids got. So they could have had one lesson with reading recovery, or they could have had
Where am I?
50 lessons. We don't know from the
Where am I?
way he was written up.
Professor May says he and his team anticipated those critiques.
Hold up, where the fuck am I? Oh no! I disconnected from my own fucking lobby. Is the stream down? No. Verify connection and try again. I'm streaming. Anyway, let's listen to this well, actually, I need to set up some stuff. So I looked up and I'm like, I'm gone. I just see my trackers. Where the fuck am I? Why did it boot me? Because I just thought I needed to recalibrate. I'm back, but I need to go back into that world. Instead of flawed literacy instructing methods, what's your solution? Because I would love to hear it. Let's teach kids about going on puberty blockers. That's called California. We're not getting political here. We're doing our best not to. Okay. We fly around. Okay, let me start it up again.
And we actually collected and then conducted sensitivity analyses to figure out whether or not those criticisms even held water. And it turned out that they don't. That no matter how we analyze the data, and no matter what other data we bring to bear, there is no denying that we see a negative impact of reading recovery. And the only explanation that I think is plausible is that reading recovery actually does harm students.
The criticism.
And doesn't that just sound like insane? Doesn't that sound insane? Where it's like reading recovery actually reading recovery does not help students. That's so fucked. Because they probably named it that way too, because it's like, okay, yeah, we're doing this, but also for political stuff, they could say like, oh, you want to hurt children trying to read. It's like, no.
Of Georgia State University doesn't stop with its Reading Recovery Training Center. A national education policy group says there are flaws with its elementary bachelor program, which prepares future teachers for the classroom. Last year, the National Council on Teacher Quality published this report after researching ways future teachers were trained in reading instruction. It gave 191 college programs in 44 states a failing grade.
Oh.
Georgia State University is one of them, in part because it found evidence of 3Qing and other methods it calls contrary practices in its course syllabi. Heather Pesky is the organization's president.
And the reason that we call them contrary practices, Andy, is because they run counter to the science. So these are instructional techniques that have actually been debunked by the science. Techniques that, in fact, are not good for kids in learning to read.
And the consequences to students is?
The consequence to students is it wastes their time. It can be harmful to them in learning to read. And ultimately, it means that the teachers aren't successful. And that's a big part of the reason why in Georgia right now, only 1 in 3 fourth graders is reading proficiently.
Yeah,
which is insane.
We don't put a lot of stock into the NCTQ report.
Why?
We think it's a very incomplete and inaccurate way of looking at the quality of our instruction. They have historically been a gotcha organization, and we believe that the quality of our instruction is very good.
Well, Dr. Dooley says...
Notice how her method to defend her research here versus attack. Let me say it like this. The method to defend her research was basically telling that the other research was flawed, but did she give any kind of quantifiable reason as to why their research was flawed? No, she was just like, we just don't like it. That was a we don't like it answer. That is not an answer. Just because is not an answer. If I could say it to a fucking 7th grader, saying just because is not an answer, actually explain your answer, I could tell it to a PhD, okay? And I hate some people with PhDs. There's a lot of people with PhDs that I absolutely think are mentally incapable of half the shit that they do or half the shit that they talk about.
GSU doesn't teach the 3Qing method. She also claims she's not sure what it is.
I guess I'm just surprised that you don't know what 3Qing is, and states have banned it across the country.
I would say that it's because the term itself has been morphed into something that has no basis in the scientific research.
So-
when I see headlines like that, I think you're banning pretty much everything. Are we saying that kids shouldn't have pictures in their books?
No.
It doesn't make any sense.
So earlier in the video, if you paid attention, you would notice that like this this is past the point where I was already ranting. You guys already heard my original rants on this, and this is something new. You already heard that 3Qing was using the pictures to basically sound out the words, which is not correct. Or help you like finish the sentence. That's not reading. That's not reading. That's not reading. You're looking at a picture. Looking at a picture is not reading. You can use a picture as extra detail with what you've read. So this is, again, she's just a fucking idiot.
I'm trying.
I hope this gets sent to her.
The bottom.
I'll tell her right now that
Education
she's a fucking
systems
idiot.
in Georgia and across the country undergoing a reading reset of their curriculum.
Why does all of this matter?
We've got children across the state.
That sounded very
that
sounded very aggressive.
While some
Why does all of this matter? I've done the same thing though.
institutions hold on to long-time controversial teaching practices.
Yes, the hand
The reading
sanitizer.
community has
Need
taken our
it.
results and simply dismissed them.
Just
And they
because
have
it's so
elected
bad. I
not
agree.
to change and improve their program. And that to me is really disappointing.
You can't change what you don't know, but now that you do know, let's change and do what's best. Just do the right thing. Like, these are kids.
Okay, I'm going through the chat here. I remember that time when you were criticizing some other streamer on here, but regardless, moving on. Yeah, that was politics, I think. I just realized, well, not just now. There's probably little to no illiterate people on the internet, at least Discord and stuff. I respect you for saying that just now, just because it's so bad. Yeah, the fact that you can just recognize that is, yeah. So there's no illiterate people on the internet. The issue is that this isn't even getting into some of the other things. One of my, actually multiple of my IEPs was that the sentences, or let's say I had a word problem with math, had to be read out to them. I can understand if there was some kind of disability there, but if we're talking 7th and 8th graders that do not have that specific disability, they shouldn't have to do that. Just full on blank, period, everything, full stop. They shouldn't have to be read out what's in front of them. 7th and 8th graders are definitely in the... For instance, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone is technically, I want to say, a 4th grade reading level book. How many pictures are in there? The question is how many chapters, because they only have like the picture on top of each chapter there. They don't have pictures throughout the whole thing. There are books that are like fully illustrated now, but you still have full on like 2, 3, 4 pages on like a total of 2 with just a picture of a scene. But that's not explaining what's happening in the book in any way, shape, or form. And that's what I'm saying. We shouldn't have to have shit like read it out loud like that. But AI in schools are getting a lot more sophisticated. They're getting smarter. And it's getting to the point where, well, we're going to have illiterate people on the internet here soon because they can't read. They're going to have AI just listen, because you could do that. Watch a Doug stream. He just talks to the AI and it spits something back out in text to speech. There is no reading involved. The only reason why he could set that up is because he's very fucking smart and he can code it. But I'm saying put that into a school setting and now you're never going to have to read ever again. It's a very slippery slope fallacy argument there, but it can happen.
Giant is part of the problem.
They end up with a sense of hopelessness. It can be devastating for their whole lives.
I like his shirt.
A pending lawsuit claims a publishing company sold defective instructional material to school districts across the country for decades, hurting children's ability to read.
That's not good.
It includes schools right here in Georgia.
Just one day I decided I wanted to draw.
He wanted to draw?
Stuff in my room.
He wanted to
Nicholas Hooks walks into a room full of imagination.
Whoa, look at that! That's actually really good.
Over here is actually an anime called Demon Slayer.
Anime characters
That was
with
Naruto.
special power. His favorite fights with 3 swords.
Oh, there's a Zoro. He's a very cool character that I really like.
The 11-year-old sees a lot of himself in Zoro. Both often feel lost.
He loses his way, and I lose my way.
Zoro gets lost on his way to battle. Nicholas gets lost in the words he's reading. The Gwinnett County student wrestles with dyslexia.
I always think
That's a disability that I'm talking about. If it's dyslexia, that could definitely be a text-to-speech kind of thing. And also, fonts. There are fonts that are literally designed to help with dyslexia because it's really hard for your brain to like kind of flip over like a D and a B. It's really hard to flip that shit based off of the font and how it's designed. So that's another thing.
Think about doing something that Zoro does. Slicing the papers.
Because you just get frustrated?
Yes. When the work gets too hard and it makes your head hurt, it makes you not want to do the work anymore. It makes you angry, upset.
This is where you get different studies that are talking about that reading and writing, well, maybe not writing, because writing is always painful if you write too much, but reading and math especially gets physically painful because of stuff like that. I read through a couple of things as a research there, and I was just like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, it's painful. That's how.
Irina is Nicholas's mother. Despite her repeated pleas for help since he was in the 1st grade,
wasn't a
she
big sample,
says
but
the
there's a
Gwinnett
big
County
sample
School
when it comes to
District has not
IRL,
provided the resources
like in the real world,
or properly trained teachers to help her son learn to read.
This is not the time.
He's now in the 5th grade, but at a 3rd grade reading level.
For that.
It has been a
journey. A very tough
5th grade, but at a 3rd grade reading level.
That's not the worst I've heard, but it's still bad.
Because his learning experience
The worst I heard was 8th grade at a 4th grade reading level. That's the worst I've heard so far.
has
And God, it
impacted his
showed.
mental health to the point where he hates himself and he wants to unalive himself.
When you say unalive himself, what do you mean?
I mean, suicidal ideations.
There goes your
And
monetization.
he only has these thoughts at school. He's actually written a letter in school saying, just let me die.
Yeah, that would trigger me to throw him into immediate counseling.
Alentanu's first investigation
If I was a
uncovered
teacher.
a potential source to students' struggle in the classroom. A pending lawsuit claims reading curriculum distributed to school districts for decades was defective. The suit filed against Heinemann Publishing is on behalf of 2 Massachusetts parents
Of course.
whose children were taught using its products. It accuses the publisher of failing to warn parents or school districts that their alleged literacy training products did not include meaningful phonics instruction, the one thing essential to literacy success. Benjamin Elga is
I
the
need to see what
parent's
that
attorney.
is.
The consequences are devastating.
Okay, so if it's just a bunch of books, there is no phonics training required on it. That's just books, and that would immediately get that lawsuit thrown out. Now, if it is like that spiral notebook that I was talking about, that actual training material, that would be an actual case in court. Let me catch up on chat here. That is good. Aggression communication can get in the way at times professionally. A lot of people can't do that. I'm just aggressive. I feel that could be useful for disabled people like the blind, but I feel that people be a good idea for general education. Well, yeah, that's with the text-to-speech. On a side note and related in this interest in Japanese manga, do you what ideograms, pictograms are? I've heard of them. I know how serious and heartfelt she's being, but that's unusual wording.
Not only do these children
With the
end up
unalive.
suffering
She's just being
extreme
honest,
mental anguish,
I feel like.
missing out on the education,
And I
they
usually
would
don't say that a
otherwise
lot when it
obtain
comes to
if they could
parents.
read, but they end up with a sense of hopelessness that can be devastating for their whole lives.
According to district records, Gwinnett County Schools, the largest in the state, paid Heinemann more than $9 million for instructional materials since at least 2018.
She's just doing
Instructional
a lot for me.
materials
Parents
such
like
as
Arena now wonder how the curriculum impacted their children. According to a state assessment, only 1 in 3 Georgia 4th graders can read proficiently.
For me, it's a gut punch, right? Because my son is not performing,
that.
and it's not his fault.
Here.
Heinemann has not shied away with what it thinks about.
Okay, side thing with how she was teaching there. I know it's common, and I know you have memories of it, but this is only like a recent thing. Whenever I would have the whole class do something like read something out loud, it was actually the principals that brought it up, being like, no, seriously, we're going to try not to do that because students can hide behind it. Like, they can mouth it, but do you know specifically that that student is actually working with all of this? Not really. So it's like, tricky now.
Phonics.
What do you do?
On its website in 2019 that it needs to be lean and efficient.
Lean.
And that every minute you spend teaching phonics is less time spent teaching other things. Today,
What?
Elga says the publisher has acknowledged the need for more phonics curriculum, but claims it charges for the updated materials.
Think about it this way. If somebody sold you a car and it was defective or missing a part, and you went back to them, they wouldn't get to charge you for the fix. It would be their responsibility to fix their defect. And yet, today, the defendants in our case are turning around and trying to sell school districts additional patches to their curricula to add phonics back in.
I just
for
realized I
more money.
only had the
That is an
Twitch
outrageous
chat
situation.
on my thing. Go back to multi in case I
Emails
missed
and
any
phone calls to Heinemann were
YouTube,
not
if anyone's even there.
returned. But the lawsuit also accuses some of its authors of producing
If anyone's on
deceptive
YouTube,
materials,
put in there so I can know.
including Gay Sue Pinnell, the architect of reading recovery. Once one of the most
Oh.
popular reading intervention
Then
programs
yeah, I know that.
in the nation. A 13-year study released by the University of Delaware in 2023 found it can be harmful to children. Its author noting it does not put enough emphasis on phonics.
If these students are struggling to
Hello,
decode
Foxo.
words, they're struggling to sound out more complicated words, that's going to have implications for their ability to comprehend text for the rest of their lives.
Pinnell did not respond to Atlanta News First's repeated request for a response.
I'll give you an example.
Nicholas took part in Reading Recovery too. Gwinnett County recently stopped using it, but his mother says the damage may already be done. They're considering moving to get him the help he needs.
Hey,
If it means our
Texas,
son
Florida,
gets to see another day,
something.
we are willing to go the extreme.
Boston,
We're
actually.
talking
Boston has
about
something
life
pretty
or death,
good.
literally right now.
It's still Common Core, but
Nicholas,
they usually
speaking up
try.
to spread awareness, fighting just like his hero to help others and himself.
If I can help you
I
with
bet
your
you my sister
story,
can animate
if
better
some
than
people
this.
watch the news, it can help with them a lot with their kids. It could help a lot of people.
Okay. I was like, what is this?
According to court filings, attorneys
Not for free.
Heinemann and Gay Sue Pinnell have asked the judge
Damn right,
to
animation
dismiss
is
the lawsuit,
hard.
claiming a courtroom is not the appropriate venue to determine if the claims are valid. So far, a judge has not ruled on the motion.
Hey, my work has that same camera thing.
30 years ago, the U.S. Department of Justice warned that colleges and universities were not properly preparing teachers to help students learn to read. The potential impact to Georgia, the highest incarceration rates in the nation.
I really, really do not want to hear school to prison pipeline. If I hear those fucking words, I'm going to lose my shit. I will actually go to the fridge and I will get a fucking drink.
I've never visited. I think it's going to be really interesting. It's a little nerve-wracking.
Kayla Hill is headed somewhere she doesn't want to go.
Work?
I might cry, honestly, because life's a lot different today.
On her way
You have to
the
go.
Barrow County Detention Center in North.
I'm definitely not in any situation to be getting any kind of extra stuff. We are actually saving up to take care of some stuff. Or same place, but definitely moving. Probably. Maybe. That's a whole situation and a half, though. Yeah, side note, we're probably going to have to move. But that's okay. It's not going to be far. It's not going to be far at all.
East Georgia, where she served time behind bars in and out of custody, 6 years
Well, I
for
would like some coffee, though.
drug-related offenses. But this
Coffee
time,
would be nummy.
as a free woman and sober.
When you walk through the doors of this jail, what were you thinking?
A lot. Really sad for the girl who came here. And honestly, just really, really proud.
Kayla says what saved her was a program to help get her GED while incarcerated.
Nice.
Before, the 33-year-old says she struggled to read basic words.
I remember being in Miss Harden's class at Belmont Elementary. And I think that's where I realized that I had an issue with reading. And they were going around the room, and I had no idea, like, where people were when they were reading, how they knew what they were saying.
A report published by the U.S. Department of Justice 30 years ago echoes Kayla's struggle in the classroom, shedding light on the link between poor reading proficiency and incarceration, revealing that reading failure is most likely a cause, not just a correlate for delinquent behavior.
They're getting really, really, really close to bringing up school to prison pipeline. They're on the border there. They're insinuating it, but it's not technically the same. I'm not going to bed. I'm going to be staying up. I'm going to be drinking because of this whole video.
Adding on average, incarcerated juvenile offenders are severely crippled readers.
Not the
Judd
one that I
Smith
had
is
to
the
deal
Barrow
with.
County Sheriff.
It's plug and play. It is 100% a link that if you do not have literacy and you don't have an education, you are walking down a path of recidivism, criminal activity, and then at that point, you're taken from society.
Okay, that's a different thing than what I'm talking about. So the school to prison pipeline that I'm talking about is students who are constantly getting wrote up because of the bullshit that they keep pulling. We're talking about like students that are like, they're totally fine. They just keep choosing to do all this other things. And I use the word choosing very specifically. It's the ones that are literally the ones that are telling me I'd rather go back to juvie because the blueberry muffins are really good. It's like, dude, you're a fine reader. You know this math. You know what we're doing in here. There is stuff that is still challenging you, but that's a good thing because this is a brand new thing. We're going to learn it together. We're all struggling. But then you still choose to go ahead and try and throw a chair at someone. Like, what the fuck?
Testing results released by the National Assessment of Education Progress released this year underscores the severity of the problem.
I actually know
The line
NAEP.
on this graph identifies what's considered a proficient reader in 4th grade. Since 1998, Georgia's 4th grade reading scores have never reached that proficiency goal. According to the Prison Policy Initiative,
down.
Georgia locks up 968 per 100,000 people. That's not only the highest in the U.S., the state incarcerates more people than any free democratic country on earth.
Would you say, other than mental health, that low literacy is maybe the second most contributing factor of whether you're going to be in a jail or not in your lifetime?
I think that's very safe to say, and I think that all the data shows that.
So why are literacy rates so poor in Georgia?
Did it say
DOJ
go
report
Vols?
places blame on colleges and universities for not adequately preparing future teachers, concluding that most teachers have little or no knowledge of phonetics or intensive systematic phonics program.
Okay. I will say I did not, but that was only because of the two majors, I guess, that I was actually choosing. I chose math and social studies. While social studies does have a lot of reading, it doesn't teach phonics. If I was to be an English teacher, though, oh, hell yeah, the whole thing, phonics. I'll pounce on VRC and make you not able to read.
In
I can
other
read.
words, not enough focus on
I can't read
instruction
out
that
loud very
includes
well, but I
sounding
can't
out
read.
words. The tragic side effect, the report wrote, is that reading teachers inadvertently victimize their students with less effective, if not ineffective, reading instruction.
Based
It
on
hurts my
what?
heart.
Based on what? So what is considered effective or ineffective? I don't like when it's not the full information there, because that was something that like I personally dealt with a lot when I was teaching, and they were like, well, you need to make sure that it's effective teaching, and I was like, okay, well, show me an example. I would do it, and then they would still give me like it's about a 5 out of 10. It's like, what the fuck? I did your method.
The word victimize seems like such a strong word, but it's true. It's true.
Shannon Hammond is executive director of Adult Literacy Bureau. She spent
Barrow.
decades as a Georgia elementary school teacher and
That hair.
administrator.
We are crippling our young learners by not teaching them how to read.
Shannon says teachers are not to blame. She says they were only teaching how they were told to teach by universities. Before she left the public school system last year, she helped retrain teachers explicitly using phonics in their curriculum.
That should
I would
be
have
a
tears from teachers
professional
in
development.
the sessions, and they would just say, "I feel so guilty. I think about all the students that I've taught that I did a disservice to," and I always use the Maya Angelou quote about we do the best we can until we know better, but once we know better, we have to do better.
30 years after the DOJ study, and
Oh, yeah,
education
what they did
policy
over there
group
was
says
unethical.
Higher education is largely not doing better. The National Council on Teacher Quality, or NCTQ, published a report in 2023 concluding that too many teachers are not training in scientifically based reading instruction.
Well, the issue is, watch this. The issue is that you're gonna have whatever the fuck her name was. You're gonna have her be like, well, here's some scientific based reading instruction that's like constantly making students actually worse and worse and worse. But he's like, but it's scientific though. So what the fuck do you mean by that? Are you gonna have, this is the fucking thing I hate about educational research, is like, it's so bad. There is no one way works all method at all, because everyone learns differently. Let me catch up with this. I'm losing my fucking mind. You like my avatar? It's actually going to change soon. It's going to change soon. It's going to change soon. But no, it's called a Digirex. But you can call it like a fox or a wolf or whatever. I don't care. It wasn't just because self-contained. Oh yeah. You look so soft. I don't know. I think it looks kind of dashy. You're gonna change? No, yeah. It's gonna change. It's gonna change. It's gonna look cool.
Gave 191 college programs in 44 states a failing grade, including 7 institutions in Georgia, after identifying what it calls debunked reading methods in course material.
If I was paying to be in medical school and you were teaching me outdated medical treatments, that would not be okay. And
Hey, there's still some medical things that we kind of use that really look outdated. Okay, so what was it the other day? It was like really okay. So this lady, I was watching this Australian like ER thing. This lady got into a pretty bad car wreck, and she, what was it? Is this a chain on my wrist? Yeah. I chose to keep it there because I was like, it looks cool. It doesn't mean anything though. I was like, it just looks cool. But yeah, she broke her wrist, and to fix it, they straight up grabbed like from here on, just kind of stretched through the rest of her hand here just to put everything back in place. That sounds so medieval as fuck, of just like, we're just going to pull it back into place. But that's how they do it. That's how they fucking do it. What's that on my belly? Nothing. It's just nothing.
And I don't think medical schools could get away with that. So why do colleges of education get away with that?
The University System of Georgia has oversight of higher education in the state. It did not respond to requests for an interview, but wrote to Atlanta News First Investigates that it has strong concerns with NCTQ's findings, which studies have shown rely on flawed research methodology.
What we're just really doing is we want best practice for our kids.
State Representative Bethany Bauer.
Methodology was the number one thing that I kept on pointing out in almost all of the research that I had to go through for my master's degree. And the issue is that, hold up, is that a belly button piercing? No, there's no piercing on here. It's just the color. I don't know why the guy who designed this, kind of emphasized on it, but it's there now. I can't change it. You came in here to block me? Cool. Bye.
Allard, a former English teacher, and State Senator Billy Hickman do not dismiss the NCTQ's findings. They want state universities to prove they are training future reading teachers the right way.
My favorite quote for Ronald Reagan is...
What is that voice? My favorite quote. Fucking Hank Hill sounding ass. I didn't even hear what he said.
I think it was scary having to learn how to believe in myself.
3 years after earning her GED, Kayla is more than a proficient reader. She's a teacher at Lanier Technical College.
Ooh.
Helping students learn to well, giving them new skills and a chance at a bright future. Something
I like how
she almost did.
I like how she actually has, like, I don't know how well you can see it on stream, but actually shows like what it should look like in the end. Like, this is like what a failed project looks like, and you will fail. Yeah, I like this avatar too. It was the only avatar I like paid for.
It gave me
The next one I'm going to be paying a bunch of friends to do different parts to get it together.
It is probably the biggest moment in my life.
Next, Georgia lawmakers take action, and a school district reveals
What?
its secret to beating the odds.
I think it's very simple in Marietta. Our time and our money are a reflection of what we value.
Okay, if I chat with you, yeah, you could be in chat. I don't care.
Right now,
It's what I
Georgia
prefer,
schools
actually.
are implementing a new state-mandated reading curriculum aimed at improving literacy. But education advocates say teachers need more help. We found one school
Teachers
district-
always need more fucking help. What do you mean? Teachers always need more help. Teachers always need more help. Always. Always. There are people, oh God, I want to go over this too. There are people on TikTok, they're like, teachers, you get paid way too fucking much. Or you get paid just enough. I don't fucking care. You get summers off. They don't. you get all these holidays off, like most jobs do. It's like, fuck. Oh God, I hate it. It's like, oh, and also most of their paycheck is going off, most of their paychecks are going for, what is it? Like pencils, paper, all that stuff. Spark, I don't know if you're here, but you can't see the video here, so I'm kind of doing this alone. But you can definitely join me in a bit, though. Can you show your muscle for $1? No, it's just this. This is as big as it can. Well, I think so, actually. Yeah, I don't have like a muscle toggle. This is as good as it gets. This is like a dream body of mine. It's like I'm kind of skinny, but I'm not like, what is it, toned, lean. I'm not like this. I would love to though.
Setting a
I would have people
possible
yelling at me to take
example.
to put my shirt back on if I looked like this.
I'm also going to grab my water. I go into classrooms all of the time.
Katie Gaudette sprints to her next classroom.
Yeah, but then it won't be synced up. Smart.
Always on the move, working with teachers.
Are there any kids who you need to highlight who have a low accuracy rate?
And students.
Let's look at the word street.
At A.L. Burris Elementary School in Marietta, with one goal in mind, improving literacy. Katie isn't a teacher, she's a literacy coach for teachers.
That U sounds tricky, so I'm going to put my little heart there. I'm here all day, every day. Whenever anybody needs anything, I'm there to help them and support them. And it's not always that I know all the answers, because I don't.
Literacy
How long
coaches
do you
are
have to wait?
typically someone with years of experience
no more
in the
than, I would say,
classroom,
20 more
and
minutes.
extensive training in something called the
Maybe 30
science
because of
reading.
the video.
It's a set of
Once I'm done with this
evidence-based
video, I'm done
instruction
streaming. I just wanted to
mandated by
rant about
Georgia
this video.
lawmakers in 2023 to address
Holy shit, evidence-based instruction? You mean you're actually going off of the evidence that you see right in front of your fucking eyes? Holy shit. Oh, it's so hard. No one ever thought of that, like fucking ever.
a statewide crisis.
Christ.
In fourth grade, only 1 in 3 students can read proficiently.
We know.
According to a state assessment.
There had to be a degree of vulnerability to acknowledge that maybe we weren't doing it right before.
To make it right, Grant Rivera took action in his district as Marietta School superintendent, embracing the science of reading early and hiring literacy coaches about 4 years ago. Since then, its literacy rates have soared, widely surpassing almost every district in Georgia. Its
Holy
third-grade
shit.
reading scores 5 times higher than the state average. The success across all demographics, Black, disabled, and economically disadvantaged students all saw double-digit gains in proficient literacy rates.
I'm going to get canceled. But we really shouldn't have like an ethnicity as a statistic like that. They're students just like any other. You saying that a certain type of student just based off of race is doing worse is quite literally just because of race that they're doing worse is definition racism. But people don't want to admit that.
Rates.
Folks, that's not luck, that's learning. I think it's very simple in Marietta. Our time and our money are a reflection of what we value. If we say that we value students reaching their fullest reading and writing potential, not just on grade level, there's not a parent in the world who's okay with their kid just sitting at grade level. We want our kids to reach their fullest
Oh yeah,
reading
it's a
and
little
writing potential. Every
thing that you would
child.
use for rock climbing.
It's been shocking to
carabiner,
us as
I think is what it's called.
Of the level of success that we've seen in
I almost
the
said
reading that we
cadaver,
see
and I was like,
happening
that's
in the
definitely not a
building and the
cadaver.
writing. And also math has improved just because of the reading work.
So it has this trickle-down effect.
Absolutely.
2 years ago, the district also hired 37 reading specialists.
All of the words.
The additional staff means classroom ratios are now 1 teacher to no more than 10 students at a time.
That sounds expensive.
Oh my god! Something that makes sense! You mean more one-on-one instruction is going to help students? Holy shit! It's never been done before! Christ! God, my biggest class was like almost 30 students. 1 teacher, 30 students. And it was, oh my goodness, it was the most stressful. Wasn't the worst class, but it was definitely one of the more stressful. Luckily, they were like, that's where a majority of my really good students, and I'm not talking like good because they're smart, I'm talking like well behaved. Jesus. It's amazing. Like, if you actually fucking invest in education and actually do evidence-based like instruction, that shit actually turns out well. Oh my God. It's what I've been screaming for.
Expensive.
Well, it's not cheap, but so too is a child who can't read. That impact to me is far more than anything we can
It'll get
quantify in
cheaper
terms
if
of percent.
you do more evidence-based instruction.
And we will do.
Scott Johnson is chair of the Georgia Council on Literacy, a task force created by the legislature 2 years ago.
Do I know
Improve
Corey Coyote?
literacy rates.
No.
If this were not a crisis, every voting member of the General Assembly would not have voted.
I don't think they even been to any one of my shows.
Well, implementing the science of reading
It's like,
is
I think
the
I've heard
council's
of them,
focus.
but I don't know
Scott
them.
believes districts need more help. He's asking lawmakers this session to fund a
I don't even know what
literacy
they look
coach
like. I think
just
I've only heard of
Katie
them.
for every elementary school in this state.
When you engage in implementing that coaching, that is key to success, and there's no real substitute for it.
The mission is personal to the chairman. His grandson has dyslexia.
My grandson, Luke, was in the car with my wife and I, and kind of unprompted, he said, "Have you ever known a second grader that couldn't read?" And I said, "What, Luke?" And he said, "Have you ever known a second grader that can't read?" "I can't read." And
he said that to you?
He said that to me. I'm not worried about Luke anymore. I'm not, because we got resources to take care of him. But if you don't, if you're the mom that is working, coming home, struggling at the kitchen table, it's a different story. And I'm not going to rest until every kid in Georgia gets what he can.
That's very nice of him. Going back to chat here. Corey Coyote, he's really cool. He's a coyote furry, and he has real nip piercings even on one of his fursuits. I don't like those. I don't like those at all, actually. I like fursuits, but I don't like all that. That's not me. They could do it. I'm not judging him. It's just not for me.
Grappling with improving the foundation.
Just piercings in general. Like, I know I got like this on my ear, but that's just because design.
Example.
Me personally, I don't have any.
Look at your spelling data. I heard somebody say this, and I've kind of thought I'd like to adopt it. It's not just my job; it's my hobby. If in my car, I'm listening to a podcast about literacy. If I'm at home, I'm reading and looking at research articles whenever I can outside of the building because I feel so passionately about it.
I just got a really good question. Do you feel some very, very basic foreign language instruction to give students a taste for future elective/extracurricular instruction should help with literacy skill? No, but I'm going to tell you why. So, for you to basically learn another language, this is why, like, for my schools, it was always like 11th and 12th grade, or at least me personally. You don't have to have it in 11th and 12th grade. Like, I think mine was just like mixed with grade levels, but I can't remember fully. It's been a while. I haven't been to school since 2013. Same here technically, but I've done college. But I haven't done like general ed, except for like teaching myself. But what was it? The reason why I don't think that it'll actually help with like literacy or anything is because you kind of need to, that's at the point where you need to know how to read in order to learn. So first it's learning how to read and then reading to learn. That's the point where you're like, okay, I have to actually, know half of this or understand like the rules here. You're being told the rules of all this. But I do think that schools should actually kind of show off future electives here because what was it? Are you really are furry? I would say so. It's like I wouldn't be wearing this without it. I have art. What was it? Sorry, the reason I got the idea wasn't through foreign language skills, more linguistic studies. So I feel like that schools, this is the only thing that my job does right. I do feel like that schools should kind of show off future electives that they can do to kind of help with students trying to choose what they want to do in future things, because I had no idea. It wasn't until like I saw this little pamphlet thing that said like radio broadcasting on there that I was like, ooh, I want to take that class. It sounds fucking cool. And it was like one of the funnest class I've ever had. Like, I remember doing like radio shows, just straight up ranting at different teams or just ranting about like different, like even like what I'm doing essentially now, just like ranting about bullshit and like stupid policies. And maybe even political at the time. The only rule that we had was like we can't talk about crime, but I think that's only like a personal thing with the teacher. He was like, you should do better than having to just broadcast bad stuff all the time. What does actual news stations do? Constantly broadcast like bullshit. Like they're constantly saying like, here's some bad stuff. Here's some bad stuff. Someone died. All that. But yeah, if they could definitely like kind of promote like, hey, yeah, we do multiple languages. We could do Spanish, French. Some schools do German. Some schools will even do like Japanese and all that. That'd be cool. I probably would have tried Japanese. I probably would have also dropped out, but I would have tried it maybe. Draven, you're amazing furry dude. Rock on. I try my best. You should see my my DJ stuff. It's on Twitch though. Actually, there's a recent one. My most recent upload is a DJ set.
Parents and education advocates flooded Georgia's Capitol this year, pleading for reform to address the state's literacy crisis. We sat down with
Please
two
don't.
lawmakers pledging to fix the problem.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I almost read it out loud anyway.
That's 234.
Through the crowded hallways of Georgia's state capitol,
Hi. Do you have a moment to chat?
Heather Kissinger and her daughter Katie are on
That
a
sounds
mission
so
to
familiar.
educate lawmakers.
Oh, hi. I have met with you before.
I have
It
not
is
met this lady
chaotic.
before.
There are
Never mind.
several groups here today, so any lawmaker that walks by, we're going to grab and we're going to try and have a short conversation with.
I like the avatar too.
Advocating about an issue close to their hearts, literacy.
So in 4th grade, I was diagnosed with dyslexia.
It's the basis of all learning.
Right.
And we got to get it right.
They're asking
It is the
lawmakers
basis
to
of all
remove
reading. I will give her that.
controversial methods used to teach children to read for decades, including 3Qing. It's a strategy where kids are often encouraged to only sample letters in the text, using pictures as clues to learn unfamiliar words.
No.
Many literacy experts believe it doesn't put enough emphasis on phonics.
And you basically guess or you infer what that's trying to say.
Heather says her daughter was also taught using 3Qing, setting her back academically. At least 19 states have banned it.
We know
so
this. It's
far.
just after commercial, so you know
Not
they
just
gotta do it.
dyslexic kids, but the rest of them.
I am doing
If
so
3Qing
good,
is
so
allowed
healthy.
For any of these kids, it makes
Fun fact, I'm not going to go into details, but I did have a little scare here recently. It was more mental than anything, but I straight up gaslit myself into thinking I had cancer. I don't. I do not. I had 2 doctors confirm. I do not. Then I need to stop freaking the fuck out. Except what's that symbol on my chest here? This is just what the artist put. So, what the hell is their name? I forget their name. They're on Twitter though. They basically make this design, the Digirex. You could probably like just go through Twitter and think like Digirex, DIGI, then Rex, REX, and he'll have a bunch of things. The only thing that's really different is like, okay, I asked for black and white. I wanted like just black and white, and the ears are the only thing that are different. Like I have the yellow, and I have like this spot or this line on the back of my ears. That's always been like a consistent yellow ears with the line, and that'll continue. So, how's work? Been smooth? No. It's been crazy. Yeah, let's get back to this stuff.
poor readers out of the majority of the group as well. That group a few minutes ago.
Heather and her parent group also want schools to
I'm
stop using.
I'm rage applying. So like every time I go to the bathroom, I'm going through Indeed, and I'm just. I do have a like a phone thing this week or this upcoming week. But yeah, it is technically political by definition, but it's not like the politics of today. It's just talking about like just stuff that I would rant about in teaching.
Reading recovery. It's state-approved intervention or tutoring intended to help struggling
You got
readers in
beans.
first grade. It's actually codified in state code. It has a history of using the 3Qing method. 2 years ago, a University of Delaware study which tracked thousands of students over 13 years found reading recovery harms children's ability to read.
Should reading recovery still be in state code as an intervention?
No, it shouldn't.
State Representative Bethany Ballard filed a bill this session that would ban 3Qing and remove reading recovery from state code.
So that we
If it's
make
3Qing,
sure that
then
our
yeah.
schools and our
I just
teaching
hate that they called it
preparation
reading
schools
recovery
will be teaching the
because
right
then
things
people are
and
going to
making
protest and be like, you know what, children don't do better in reading. They're trying to recover. It's in the name. Fuck you.
Reading Recovery of North America pushed back, writing it is the most studied, most successful short-term.
The word. I don't have it anymore. It's right there. It's right there. It's right there. It's right fucking there. It is right there. I'm going to write it down. Short term. That is the word. That is those are the two words. That's the main thing. Short term. Short short term. I'm using more phonics than they fucking are. Short term. Short term. What does short mean? Not very long. Oh my God. In the world. Motherfuckers. You can see where it's literally being like, hey, yeah, we're the most research and we have data that supports for the short term, but the issue is the long term. We're talking about those that are trying to eventually get into high school, graduate high school, and then college. If your shit is hurting in the long run, why the fuck would you do it? Not drinking, though. Drinking's good. Never mind. Oh, my God. We'll see you. You gonna chat? Okay. With your friends who's also furry. Have fun. Glad you stopped by.
Term reading intervention in the world. With 40 years of documented success, it also claims laws that ban 3Qing inadvertently ban teachers from teaching phonics.
Your thing doesn't have phonics in it. They literally showed that earlier. They're like, it doesn't teach phonics at all. So what the fuck do you mean that you're banning teachers from teaching phonics? Your thing does not teach fucking phonics at all.
Great bill.
The legislation, supported by Senator Billy Hickman, chairman of the Senate Committee on Education and Youth. Their goal to fix a statewide crisis. By fourth grade, only 1 in 3 Georgia students can read proficiently.
This is Georgia's most solvable problem.
5 years from now, where do you think Georgia's literacy rates are going to be?
I think we're going to be at the top or near the
We're
top.
going to be at the top. The goal is to be at the top.
To meet that goal, literacy experts believe Georgia universities play a key role, but aren't doing enough. A recent study published by the National Council on Teacher Quality gave 7 Georgia colleges and universities a failing grade in how they prepare future teachers for the classroom.
I can understand that.
In part because it found evidence of 3Qing and other methods it calls debunked teaching practices in its course.
I think that was Harry Potter.
Every
That looked like the
university
Chamber of
Atlanta
Secrets
News First
or
Investigates reached out to dismiss the council's findings.
It actually looked like the Half-Blood Prince. It was green.
Kareem Reaver is executive director at Fulcrum, a nonprofit literacy organization.
Even if you say, well, we don't necessarily think we're an F score, do you think you're an A score? Are your teachers coming out prepared to teach children how to read? You know, as my grandmother would say, something's in the milk. If you're getting an F on that rating score, and they're listing all the reasons why after examining your syllabus, something's going on.
Georgia State University received a failing grade 2. It's run a reading recovery training center since at least the 1990s.
Fuck.
Here's what the chair of GSU's Department of Early Childhood and Elementary Education told Atlanta News First Investigates.
I had to work
in
with them.
December.
It's not fun.
It's been around for a long time. It has
You! It's her again! It's Caitlin! God!
Background, and we believe that it works.
Shortly after
didn't sound very
publishing
confident.
the interview, the university scrubbed all references of reading recovery from its website, but has declined to confirm whether it's still teaching it today.
So if it's happening, if there's still being a launching pad for teachers,
They deleted the shit. They're like, oh, fuck. It's causing damage in the long term. Ooh.
having that be a core part of their learning journey, I would ask them to rethink their mission.
Oh, we're going to
The
rant about the
audio
Harry
has to
Potter
match them.
series here soon.
Should we go up the stairs or take an elevator?
Parents working to reset reading curriculums, they say is needed in Georgia classrooms.
And let me just tell you, if you don't have the financial resources that we had to fight for your child will not be successful. So that's why we're here, because we want the families behind us to not have to fight the way that we did.
Coming up, a legislative campaign for change comes to a close.
Colleagues, 70% of our fourth graders are struggling to read on grade level.
Lawmakers and parents react.
Yes!
After months of Atlanta News First investigations into Georgia's
They're going to
literacy
repeat a lot of
crisis,
stuff because it was
state
commercial.
lawmakers passed sweeping legislation aimed at transforming how reading is taught. While some education experts worry it goes too far, others believe it will fix a problem plaguing classrooms for decades.
The lady is recognized to present Senate Bill 93.
To have Senate Bill 93.
Here is some civics for you all that you might not have heard of because it wasn't until a lot later when I actually learned of it. So if you're talking about Congress, not your state Congress, but, you know, the Congress, U.S. Congress, you can't just, like, go in there and rant about, like, trying to introduce a bill or whatever. However, for your state Congress, you absolutely can. You can speak on the floor.
Teachers are ready to teach reading to our children on day one.
Missy Purcell
SB
watches
93.
Georgia lawmakers
If someone can link
do
that to me, that'd
something
be
she
so
didn't
helpful.
think was possible.
All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes.
Yes.
Like on Discord.
Yeas 168, nays 0.
Voting to ban a controversial teaching method used to help students learn to
Oh, it was
read.
Warriors.
The same words.
Something Missy says harmed her son Matthew when he was in the first grade.
Can't read it.
Just do your best.
I can't. I don't know any of these words.
We first met the Gwinnett County mother last year.
If you could just walk a mile where we've been and what this does to a kid.
So walking's hard.
It took a long time, but now we have unanimous support to turn the ship around and do the right thing by our kids.
Children don't know how to read now? Yeah, it's
What
actually like
lawmakers
an actual
banned is
like epidemic.
Cueing, a method where kids only sample the letters and the words in the text, relying mostly on prediction and context for comprehension, often using pictures on the page to cue young readers to learn words. Some experts believe cueing doesn't put enough emphasis on phonics.
You know it's bad when like a past math teacher knows that that's some bullshit too. It's like I didn't teach reading a lot. Like hardly at all. And I even hearing about it the very first time was some bullshit.
Or sounding out words. At least 19 states have banned it so far.
Colleagues, 70% of our fourth graders are struggling to read on grade level.
State Senator Rashawn Kemp, a former school teacher and principal, co-sponsored the legislation. He read a letter Missy wrote to him about her son on the Senate floor.
This method did not teach him to read, it taught him to guess, leaving him anxious, struggling, and believing he wasn't capable for his first 5 years of school. No child should experience that.
Part of me is a little emotional because we have a law now that's going to stop practices that hurt our kids.
The legislation faced criticism, including from the Georgia School Superintendent Association.
Well, they're superintendents. They don't know shit.
From the classroom, I think instills a sense of fear in teachers that, is this strategy okay? Is this one not okay? It just creates a little bit of anxiety in terms of, am I doing something illegal in my classroom?
Georgia State University Dr. Caitlin Dooley also voiced concern. She chairs the
Caitlin?
university's Department of Early Childhood and Elementary Education.
Are we saying that kids shouldn't have pictures in their books?
No, they're saying that you're a
It
fucking
doesn't
idiot.
make any sense.
State Representative Bethany Ballard, also a former English teacher, authored the legislation.
It does not ban the use of picture books or pictures. All of this can be used as a supplemental material in the classroom, but they may not be used as the primary means of instruction.
The legislation also prevents schools from using a reading intervention program called Reading Recovery, used by Georgia school districts for decades to help struggling first graders. A 2023 University of Delaware study found it can be harmful to children. The instruction
We don't like
uses
the research
three-cueing
because
method.
we say
At the end of
so.
the day, the recueing is not aligned to the science of reading, and it has failed too many students. When you have a 70% rate of students not reading on grade level,
Man,
that
even
is
a dem.
an emergency 5-alarm fire across all areas.
The passing of the bill follows multiple Atlanta News First investigations over the past 5 months, part of our Reading Reset series, revealing potential causes to Georgia's literacy crisis.
We are crippling our young learners.
And its impact on children and their families.
I think this is just a summary at the end. So, boop. Yeah. Here's my 2 cents on the whole thing. I'm glad it got banned. Anyone should message their peoples in charge to completely ban that, because that is just horrendous. Anything remotely similar to that is just crazy. I was going to do another video of ranting about like kids' behaviors in the classroom, but like I think I did enough damage already. But yeah, overall, that whole thing, absolutely insane. First of all, behavior from the director of the early childhood education, fucking Caitlin, going ahead and just be like, well, we don't like the research because, well, are you trying to ban pictures from Pictionary? What the fuck? It's so stupid. Like, there's a lot of people in education I'm more than willing to, like, full on get on a stage and debate against because they're just so fucking dumb. And they're in charge of our education, too. It's one of the reasons why it's just like, what if our Department of Education actually, they don't do this, but what if they actually did a mandate saying, like, you had to, well, actually, they kind of do this in a way. The Department of Education is more than capable of saying, like, hey, you have to teach, like, this way or these specific things, or else we're just not going to give you any kind of funding. And it's just like, they could have added, like, that 3 queuing, which I don't know why it's called 3. And then, like, I can understand queuing. I don't understand the 3. That whole thing is just, like, horrendous. The little bits that I've heard already where it's just like, you got to use the picture to spell out the word. It's like, no, you fucking don't. Hey, let me catch up on this. There's a student who's looking at the subtitles, understands the language being spoken in the video. Oh, yeah, people constantly, like, watching anime be like, I could totally move to Japan. Like, no, you can't. Let's see. The sounds like the airhead. Oh, yeah. Okay, unless there's gibberish where the speakers or characters don't speak actual words, is something from, like, Pingu. Yeah, that could cause some problems. I can understand, like, it could help with, it can definitely help with, recognizing emotions. But, like, take a show like Teletubbies, for instance. It's Spark. I'm accepting invites now, by the way. You're loading for me.
It's the avatar you said you didn't like.
I didn't say I didn't like it. I said it scared me at first. Here, I'll give you some room.
Just slowly sliding.
Yeah, it's just long. But what was it? Teletubbies, it teaches you enunciation. Because Teletubbies is actually a pretty hard word to already say. But for a little kid doing that would definitely help with future reading too. Let's see. I was explaining something above, like how subtitles may be potential reading medium. Subtitles can help, but not with other languages. So like if you have like subtitles while you're listening to it, like I can understand like a show can actually help, but earlier, like if you're just relying on just the text to speech, it's not going to help you with well, not text to speech. If you're not using subtitles, that's what I'm trying to say. If you're not using subtitles, it's not going to help you with reading. Oh, bro,
Oh, you're still going on about.
I am.
You're still going on about about the what was it? I joined in halfway, and it was things of like the new education system is just raising children that aren't even able to learn read. They're not able to read.
So what it was is it was showing off a
the GIF that I was getting from when I joined your stream.
Yeah, it was showing a method of teaching how to read, or really it's they were teaching it as a reading intervention. So students who are already like kind of low in reading, and they were like, okay, we're going to target you and we're going to try this program. And it actually made it worse. Like they found short-term solutions, but because it never taught them any kind of phonics, that they didn't get to any larger words. So like they could do like run, see, sock, fall, all that. But then once they get down to like much bigger words, like actually, you know, reading to learn. So like you're in your biology class and then you got your mitochondria. It's like you can't even pronounce that. Nonetheless, like read it. It's just like
we love the third word. We love the third word. He said.
What was the third word?
Sock.
Sock. I'm wearing socks.
No.
I am. Okay.
No.
Someone's hunting me. Help. I hope you get better. Nothing I can do.
That's the word of the day.
Run! Do you still want to play VRC? Yeah, I'm going to be drinking later. I would join right now, but I kind of don't want to be on stream right now. Okay. Reading Rainbow taught kids better than the modern education system. I actually didn't like Reading Rainbow too much.
Really did.
No, you want to know a show that...
Okay, some people are just wrong.
You want to know a show that actually like improved reading levels, and not just for the short term, like that other fucking study that they did. Like actually, like for the long term, actually help students. I will give a hint. It had puppets, but it wasn't Sesame Street. It was people who originally...
Sesame Street?
It wasn't Sesame Street. It was a show that had previous Sesame Street workers on it. But it wasn't Sesame Street.
Larkinson. No, absolutely not.
That fucking face. Mr. Me? No.
Because I'm a 2000s kid. I don't...
Yeah, you might
don't
still have
know.
heard of it. Nah. So it was called Between the Lions.
Oh. Okay, that was... I've never heard of that in my life.
Okay, so Between the Lions, it had like puppets and all sorts of different bits or whatever, but it mostly focused on phonics and trying to put shit together. Like Sesame Street did the same thing, but Sesame Street went on like other issues too. Between the Lions was strictly just reading.
You keep saying phonics. What are phonics? That is something they never taught me.
They taught you it.
I promise you, I've never heard that word in my life.
As a student, you would have not heard it, but I'm going to get the actual definition so I don't get yelled at. I can describe it, but... So phonics is a method of teaching people to read by correlating sounds with letters or groups of letters in an alphabetic writing system. So what I showed earlier was you have the word
so
like
it's like
sad. So you have like s-a-d or s-a-d, s-a-d, sad, and now you got a word out of it.
So it's that thing where it's like S hyphen add, like hyphen AD.
Yeah, you
It,
might-
like, gets half of a word, and you're like, okay, put it together. What?
Quite
word is
literally,
that?
yeah. Like you're just putting sounds, letters that have sounds, and you're putting them together to make a word. So that way your brain actually clicks like, oh, that actually is making a word. I think my word that got me
And
was
then-
hot. Like that's when it finally clicked with me as a kid. It was like, oh, hot, hot. Oh, that's a word. That's a thing because I know the stove is fucking hot.
Oh my gosh, speaking of hot, you want me to go on a random side tangent? Absolutely random.
Okay.
But it does deal with hot.
Okay.
Yeah, this video is sponsored. Anyway, so
Nerd!
I went to a Korean barbecue for the first time, which they have a live hot stove stove eye in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
So 1, 2, 3, 4. All 4 people have their own stove eye to put their soup on if they chose to get soup. And the center was also hot. See what I did? It's totally relevant. Anyway, was also a hot, like iron griddle, I guess it's called. When it's not a grill, but just it's a flat.
I've been to
hot
one.
Piece of iron
I know what you're talking about.
Griddle.
Mm.
Yeah, it's that thing. My food alone was $120.
What the fuck? What did you get?
2 things of food.
Oh my god.
I didn't question it because I had a Patreon member pay for it all today. He drove all the way from Florida to pay for my food.
God damn.
I am not even joking.
Why?
That was a thing that happened.
Why? Why did he go to fucking Florida?
I just stared at it like... And I showed him the bill and he's like...
How is it that much?
Dude, I mean, next thing I know, he's paying for it, and he's like, we're never eating here again. To what I was told, according to the other 3 friends that came with us, that was top tier quality meat.
Oh, like Wagyu?
The meat was great. I thought it was horrible. I was literally gagging at the first bite. But I tried Korean food for the first time. And long story short, I did not like it. I got a $120 bill I thankfully did not have to pay for. And that's what I did today.
I'm glad you had fun. They're being told that I have 2 dislikes on my
Yeah.
stream. Like, what? Who would dislike me? I'm gonna cry.
They're already disliking
They're
your
disliking
show.
me. Oh my god. Oh shit, I can't do it on
You might
Chrome.
as well
I forgot I can't do it on Chrome because
what on
I don't
Chrome?
have the plugin on Chrome anymore.
What are you trying to do on Chrome?
See if it's true.
Well, I can't imagine how in the world it wouldn't be true.
So I wouldn't care. I just want to see
I mean,
it.
that's kind of how it worked. Wouldn't be true.
Ah. Yep, it's true. Oh, I thought you died for a second.
No.
Nuh-uh.
Just don't ask me to tell any bike jokes.
There was one thing that I did. What was it? I did say that could constitute as how dare you, could cancel me, but it's also true at the same time.
What'd you do?
I pointed out other people's racism.
Yay, Draven racism. We love it.
No,
We
not
love it
me,
here.
other
We love
people.
Draven racism.
No, I basically said you shouldn't be using as one ethnicity as a statistic because I can understand having that as a statistic, but that shouldn't be your main goal. Because if you're saying that one ethnicity has a harder time learning, isn't that basically saying that just because of their ethnicity, they can't be smart? That's fucking stupid. That's racist. And I guess people didn't like that.
That sounds... So were they trying to use the argument of because one ethnicity is struggling, we have to lower the bar for everyone?
That is quite literally
Now everyone
affirmative
is
action.
struggling? Was it...
There's a lawsuit
But
at
is that
Harvard.
what
but
you were referring to?
I was referring to that, yeah. But they had a statistic that was showing oh yeah, all these different statistics. Look at how they're improving without using this bullshit method, and they're actually, teaching phonics.
Well, actually, we're trying to help the other ethnicity, so I think you should call it affirmative defense because we're trying to defend the weak.
So
You know?
okay,
Affirmative defense.
I do agree
actually-
that while you're like, especially in early childhood education, so like K through 4 at the max, honestly, like K through 4, if there is a student that is struggling, not because of a certain race, but let's say they're having a hard time reading or they're having a hard time with math or something else, they're struggling with something, you should do an intervention on that and actually build them where they need to be. That's closing the gap. That's not affirmative action, though. That's just doing your fucking job as a teacher.
I remember there was only one kid ever. It's kind of off topic, but there was only one kid ever that was held back. And I was like, oh my gosh, if he gets held back, it's okay if I get held back. Because, I mean, it's just like the normal thing. Like, I have a friend that told me they got held back, and now I know someone personally that got held back. So I'm gonna feel less bad if I fail a grade.
It's like the goal is to not get held
Oh my
back.
gosh. Proceeds to enroll into becoming a heart doctor.
Okay.
Thinking, oh, if I fail, it's okay.
So that
And I
requires.
was gonna be a heart doctor too.
I was gonna be an orthopedic,
Until COVID.
an orthopedic surgeon. But
Oh, look at you.
No, but I hated biology
You
and
became a
chemistry so
YouTuber.
much that I quit that shit. I quit pre-med, and I went into education just to get the degree faster.
Yeah. Did you do that thing where if you be a teacher for 10 years, it's free?
What?
Or no?
There is programs where like it'll basically pay back your loans. But in the
Isn't
end,
that how jobs work?
no, you have to pay back the loans, not the job. But what was it? So there was a program for like education just to try and incentivize people, but it took like something years. It's like if I actually was making payments to my loans, I would have had it paid off probably like no more than 4, and that's like not even trying. If I was actually trying, I probably could have got it paid off within 2. I only got mine paid off because of
Everybody knows.
some kind of inheritance.
Everyone knows hardworking teachers get paid more.
No, they don't.
I'm pretty sure you saw this. They were like, so this PE teacher sits the class down and is like, so can anyone tell me who the smartest student
Sorry, I was looking at. I just noticed that you were sitting. I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, I'm sitting down. Because why would I be standing? Anyway,
I'm standing.
It's like the teacher, the PE teacher, sits everyone down.
This
and
is
like,
furry
"Can you
nonsense,
tell me who the
Spark."
smartest teacher in the school is, and everyone's saying like the chemistry teacher, the
I've
health
heard
and
this one.
science teacher, the biology teacher, and he says, no, not them. Well, who is it? Me. Because while they're teaching all this big brain stuff, I get paid the exact same, and all I do is play dodgeball.
Yep, they do. They do get paid the exact same, and they can also punish students a lot easier. Like it could be like, "Oh, you're fucking about in class, 10 laps now before you can play this game." They're asking if you're a. What are you?
European American?
No, I'm talking about your fucking avatar. What are you?
Oh, I'm a tar. Taur.
He's a tar. Look at him.
See,
French
wait,
tartar.
if I hit him with one, I don't have my full body tracking on, so excuse how cringe I look. Hold on.
I have mine on.
Hit him with a wow.
Turn. Ooh.
Turn around. Every now and then I gotta.
Balenciaga. Come on, Vogue. I don't know what that is. That's what it is.
It's the anthro and a feral at the same time.
I can ride his back.
Ta-da. I can have 2 people on my back.
He can have 2 people ride him. He's a good guy.
Yep.
Horsey. He's a horsey.
Who wants to see me get long? I have.
He could get long.
Hold on.
Spark's expressions are very well animated. That's called facial tracking. He has a lot more money than I do. I don't have any.
See, I became long. And then...
He's longer.
Womp. Hmm?
I found out a friend of mine actually had a car accident.
That's crazy. Like, literally, what does that do anything with the live stream right now? Like, we are clearly in the middle of talking about, helping those who are unable to learn.
Oh, we're past that conversation
How
now.
about...
So my friend had a car accident, and it's doing exactly what I've been calling for. A lot of people say that I'm ageist because I want old people off the fucking road, and they should. But she got...
Is it your friend, I think?
No.
Oh, she? Okay.
No. No, you don't know this person. I hardly ever talk about this person. But she got in a car wreck because these old dementia patients decided to pull out right. Like, there was no way that she could even hit the brakes in time. They just decided to pull out there. I guess they wanted to off themselves or something. But these old people just wanted to fucking try and kill someone, and they almost killed her. Their truck rolled, and luckily my friend is fine. But it sounds like that she has a slip disc or something. One of them is protruding, and has some hernias that needs some looking at. But this was also her first wreck too, because I was immediately have that insurance charge them old people all the fucking money. It's I have no respect for old dementia patients on the road, so I'm just absolutely, they're about to die anyway. I don't care. Have them charge they have retirement. Cool, that can pay for the medical bills.
They had to pay for her bill, right?
I'm hoping so. I don't think so. I think most because her airbag didn't even deploy either.
But she was not in the people that pulled out in front of her is in the wrong. So
yeah, but I'm just you need to be working with your insurance to make sure that they're talking to their insurance and being make sure that they're paying for any kind of medical over here, or hopefully your medical does it too. But I think she got maybe $8,000 just for the car, but I don't know if they're doing anything else. So I'm just yeah, you got $8,000, but that's all going to be going to medical.
That's ridiculous because I got rear-ended, and I mean boop, and I got $16,000 from that. They totaled my Jeep, and I'm my Jeep is perfectly fine. It just has a dented-in trunk, and they're nuh-uh, looks totaled to me.
I'm okay.
I'm no, it's not at all. Literally, nuh-uh, but okay.
They're saying those avatars remind me of one creature from Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. What could it be?
Bro, you
the
look
centaur?
Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Dude, I wish I was Harry Potter. That'd be so cool.
That's what this... I mean, if they're referring to the centaur, I mean, that's what this is.
They want you to bark.
Centaur.
Can you bark for them? They want you to bark. I'm not doing it unless I get paid. I'm not doing it. My donation link is in Twitch. And it works too.
I will have to see that comment where someone is legitimately asked. There is no fucking way that someone is actually asking for that.
I'll screenshot it right now. And oh, good. I have my Discord. Where are you?
Dude, are you serious?
You're also saying you have cool pattern designs too. This other one.
I didn't ask.
Yeah, that's a centaur. The one who saved Harry in the Forbidden Forest. They also like that you have yellow beans.
The Forbidden Forest?
Yeah, it's forbidden because students aren't allowed in there, yet they go anyway.
Oh, that's crazy. In the Forbidden Forest. Are we allowed in the forest? No.
No.
No
Okay.
beans.
Anyway, you're going to detention in the Forbidden Forest. It's an actual fucking thing. Not even like just a books thing that's in the movie.
Wasn't it? Dude, I remember trying to watch Harry Potter, and one of the scenes actually scared me so bad as a kid. I never watched any more Harry Potter.
Was it the dog?
It was some. I don't even know if I like skipped into the middle of the movie or what the fuck happened. Anyway, like Harry Potter is like going through some library and he like gets one of the books and opens it up and there's like nothing in it. And then suddenly, yeah, that face is like pressing out of the pages and screaming.
That scared me too, but I liked it.
As a kid, that messed me up so bad. I never watched any more Harry Potter. I was like, this is scary. I don't want to do this no more.
Dude, like Harry should have been traumatized just by the what was it? Just the home shit that he had to deal with. That should have caused traumatization. And they should have had this in the fucking movies. So Dumbledore does pick up Harry, but not like in the train station. In the book, it's 1,000 times better. So in the book, he shows up at Harry's house. Harry didn't believe that he was actually going to be there. He thought it was like just someone trying to get him. And he's just like, I'm escorting Harry to his school. How about you all have a seat? And like summons, like pushes them into like a sofa and everything. Summons drinks in the air, but they're like constantly like pushing and prodding like on their heads and shit. Be like, come on, just have a drink. And a lot of people are like, is it intentional that it got worse over time because they weren't taking it? But like, after a little bit, when Harry and Dumbledore are just talking back and forth, it's just straight up like beating them over the head and like splashing the mead everywhere. They're like, get this off of me, get it off. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, but it would be more polite to take the drink that I offered you. So like also like just showing them like manners and shit. But and then he just goes on a tangent being like, it's surprising that this kid is even, functioning based off of the life that he had with you all. Anyway, we're leaving. Bye. But they also thought that they were talking about Harry. They thought that they were talking about Dudley. They were like, we would never do anything to Dudley. And they're like, oh, okay, bye.
It reminds me of like this Family Guy scene. Oh gosh, I'm gonna absolutely butcher this. What was the name of like the 4 houses you could be assigned by the sorting hat?
Gryffindor, Slytherin, Ravenclaw, and Hufflepuff.
I'm gonna fuck that up so bad. It was like putting that sorting hat, and it was like, Slytherin, putting on the next person, Hufflepuff, put it on the third person, registered sex. I was like, what?
I've not heard about Some wrestler. No. That sounds terrible, though.
100% off guard.
I'm not barking. I need money. Give me money and I might do it. Let's see. I've been sorted 3 times now, and each time I got hit with Hufflepuff, and so I'm just stuck with Hufflepuff. I have Hufflepuff robes in my closet, and with this new Epic Universe, they have new robes. Like, it has stripes on the sleeves, and it has like a tassel at the end of the hoof. Or not the hoof. The
Tesla.
I was looking at your hand here, and for some reason I thought hoof. It was just wrong. The tassel at the end of the hood, and I want it. They're asking if you heard about Sabu, some professional wrestler.
If I'm a professional wrestler?
No, if you've heard about this guy named Sabu, this professional wrestler. Apparently they died recently.
Sabu.
I don't keep up with wrestling.
I know nothing of wrestling.
I don't know about that Adler house thing. It only was Hogwarts houses.
Yeah, Hogwarts. We love Mortons on Hog.
I keep hearing about Hogwarts Legacy 2, and I'm still just like, I'll play it, but God, if those voice actors are just as fucking bad, I'm gonna have a fit.
Alakadabra, motherfucker.
Meets Eagle Class in German.
Oh my gosh. Was there ever a spell in Harry Potter that was legitimately just abracadabra?
The closest one is Avada Kedavra.
Love that. We love that. What did it do?
Killed. It was the killing
just
curse.
kills people?
Yeah. But there's a lot of debate as to how.
Imagine that shit, right? You just get this with the wand and you're just trying to be funny. Abracadabra. Oh my god!
No, there's like a little animation where like Voldemort said abracadabra and like turned Harry into like a rabbit. He's like, it's Avada Kedavra, you fucking git, and like immediately killed Voldemort.
I think you said that to me.
Yeah, but the thing is that
Okay,
you can't use an unforgivable curse without like actually meaning it. So not a lot of people could actually do Avada Kedavra because, one, you have to mean it like that much, and it's also a very complicated spell.
So, actual question. I've been meaning to ask this, but I don't know a single Harry Potter fan. And oh my gosh, I found one.
I'm the expert.
And you watch all the Harry Potter things?
Multiple
You're
times.
the expert. Okay, so what is stopping someone from just like getting anyone and like just casting the most powerful spell or whatever?
So you could technically get any wand you want. Are you talking like a muggle gets a wand or just any wizard?
Like, what is stopping me from just picking up any old wand and be like, the spell that fucking kills people?
Only wizards can do it.
Just like win the boss battle or whatever.
No, it's you have to be a wizard in order to actually, use it. There was a ban on
like,
magical creatures using wands. Like, you can only be human. Like, they banned goblins from possessing wands, even though they can use magic, especially house elves. They can't use it either, even though they have a lot of magic as well. But it's like you have to know how to use the wand firstly, because it doesn't show it in the movie, but spells have movements. So like this, like that lightning bolt shape that was on Harry's head there, that was actually the movement for Avada Kedavra. Again, simple, but you have to have like a lot of, mental and concentration and shit. Like there was a whole like chapter on Hermione trying to teach Harry Accio or Accio, whatever, however way you want to pronounce it. Let's see, because he just couldn't fucking get it, like, at all. But apparently it takes, like, immense concentration and, like, visualizing what are you trying to actually grab. But in another scene, you still got, like, Ron's mom, like, doing, like, Ezio, on Fred and George to get all the different candies out of their pockets and shit because she's just pissed off. So regular Muggle can't use it, but magical creatures theoretically can, but they probably won't know how to use, like, any of the spells.
So you're saying, like, you have, like, step one, you have to be a wizard to cast a spell?
You have to be a wizard in order to actually use the wand, because like, first years, like, they have their wand, they probably, like, never actually, used it before, but the best that they can do is probably, like, throw sparks at each other if they're, like, trying to actually do something. that's about it.
So, like, how do you become a wizard then? Like,
a lot of training and a lot of education.
What? Yeah, but, like, that's basically what I'm asking. Like, what are you training exactly? If it's not, like, on top of the movements and the words that you have to say.
Mm-hmm.
What else?
There's, like, a whole theory behind each of the spells too. So Harry Potter is different than, like, let's say Lord of the Rings, because I would argue, or even, like, let's say, like, World of Warcraft, or even Frieren, like, I already forgot her name, like, the purple hair girl that's in Frieren, is a human, but she can use magic, and that's only because she's been training for it like crazy, and can cast spells and been learning, like, the theory behind all these other different kinds of spells too. So then just practice with all that different things of casting it and getting better at it. So that's why she's able to kill a demon, like, pretty easily. But
abracadabra, mother.
I think that spell that she uses is Zoltrak, but it could be used the same way. It'll just disintegrate you.
Have you seen that meme that was like the new most powerful?
I do remember, Dobby.
And it's just a gun on a stick.
What is this? I think I got, like, a copy pasta here. You fucked up the linguine. You fucking up, bitch. You put the linguine with the fucking a toast bread. The cost for such an act: raw spaghetti, laser beam, oregano. Okay.
That's great.
Did you know that Harry Potter and Mary Poppins are similar? I would say that Mary Poppins could be a wizard in the Harry Potter world, easily. They're both in, like, have London and everything.
Yeah, London.
Like, her umbrella that she flies on is
totally
actually a
can.
wand, which is also Hagrid's too. Hagrid's wand is inside the umbrella.
That's great.
So, it's looking like it's time for my drinking night. Bannered Mare is open. Yay. So I'm going to end the stream.
Oh, you're going drinking.
I'm going to go drinking.
Well, good. You should be drinking. Stay hydrated. In fact, everyone should be drinking right now.
No. I don't know how old everyone is. They should be drinking
Well,
water.
they're drinking water.
They should be drinking water.
Yeah, they should be drinking.
Bye.